This podcast is supported by listeners like you. We're grateful for your tax-deductible donation at newthoughtphilly.org or the link in the episode description.
A practical prayer is a prayer that works.
These discussions between Reverend Bill Marchioni and Carol Lawrence dive into the details of how it works and how to work it.
Reverend Bill is a New Thought minister and the author of Practical Prayer for Real Results.
Your new life begins with a new thought.
Carol Lawrence is on a spiritual quest, finding the New Thought teaching after decades on the pulpit in 3 different traditional denominations.
I've got some questions.
Together, they're exploring the philosophy and activities that come together from many of the world's religions to create the practical spirituality that is New Thought.
Welcome to the Practical Prayer Podcast. I'm Carol, here with Reverend Dr. Bill Marchioni.
And you want to get back to basics.
Yeah, I think it's good to do that sometimes.
Fundamentals. Not fundamentalism, but fundamentals.
Thanks for that clarity.
Some people have an allergy to the word fundamentalist. Have you noticed?
I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I wanted to get back to basics because there is, New Thought is such a vast landscape, probably as any area is, but it's so much, and you can get so far out in your learning, especially if you're very serious, and maybe forget the basics. If you get them locked in, you can go out more confidently. So that's my thought.
Okay. And
because every now and then I have to go back to
every religion and spiritual practice has whatever their basics are. Maybe it's 10 commandments. Maybe it's the 800 and whatever it is mitzvahs. Maybe it's, the whatever the rules are that we have to abide by, or the creed that we all have to believe. And I say have to believe in New Thought in general, and specifically in the group that I'm leading, which is New Thought Philadelphia. We whittle it down to one item in the creed, and it's not something that anybody has to believe. It is simply the glue that holds the organization together, and if somebody doesn't believe it, then they are going to feel very out of place. So, and that one is, and we say it every Sunday morning, we believe there's one power, love, intelligence, or force that creates everything, including each of us, and that we each use that same power, love, intelligence, or force to create our lives according to our beliefs. That's the whole deal. That's all of it. That is the basics. That's what we believe. Now, the rest of it is, well, what does that mean, and how does it work, and how do I engage with that, and why does the world look different than that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's not the end of the story. That's the beginning of the story.
Mm-hmm. But it's the foundation that if you can, for me, if I get far out and I can come back to that one basic thought, it clarifies or puts everything in perspective for me. Then I can go further, because learning about spirituality and what it means in your life and all this stuff. All this stuff on the journey can get you confused at points, which I think is a wonderful thing to get confused, because then you stop, you think, you reset, but to be able to have that one place to go back and say, okay, this is about one.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could start here, and the one is God, like this is me now. I don't know about the formal, expression of it, but I'll say,
I've got my hand on the buzzer. If you say something incorrect, I'll ring in.
Yeah, I bet. So I'll go back and say, okay, this is one. There is one mind, right? That's my thing. This is one mind. So sit down and figure that out. One mind. You can find your center there. You can find the place to start and then go from there. How does one mind gel with what's going on right here?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's one mind is a way of looking at it, one presence, one power, one source, one creator. It's all one. Mm-hmm. And we're just talking about it, whether it's a mind when we're thinking about intelligence or conscious intent, or we think about it as a love when we're thinking about the sharing and the connection, and we think about it as the presence when it's the stuff. So implied, packed into that statement of belief is all of that. There is one power, love, intelligence, or force that created everything. And it did that by sharing itself, because there's nothing but the one. It didn't have any raw materials to work with. There wasn't the one plus a big pile of things to do something with. The one began sharing itself. And everything that exists is part of that sharing. And that's the basics of how we get into practical prayer. The first step in a practical prayer is to recognize that there is only one. There is only one, whatever we're thinking about. Love, intelligence, presence, power, thingy. And sorry, another technical term. And the second thing is that because there's only one, then I must be that one. There is no possibility that there's the entire manifest universe. And separate from that is me. I am not a bystander. I'm not an outsider. I am a full-blown participant. I am created by that same power. And everything that exists in the universe is created from that one, including me. So that's the second step. Because once I understand that I am an expression of that one, I am that one shared, there's nothing that's necessarily held back. Everything that's available from the one through the one as the one is available to me. It's not like there's special dispensation that the divine is going to be more present in Carol than it is in Bill. It might be more fully expressed. You might be rocking it much more than I or somebody else might be. But the potential is there for every part of creation to express the magnificence, its oneness. And that's the second step in the prayer. And after that, we get to the second half of the statement. And we use that same power, love, intelligence to create our lives according to our beliefs. What we're going to do is whatever it is we're believing, the third step in the prayer, that's our affirmation or our realization step. We're claiming that good, whatever it is, whether it's a wonderful relationship or prosperity or vibrant health or the reversal of an illness or some challenge that's going to transform into a wonderful opportunity, or new ideas and opportunities for how we express ourselves in the world and how we share our gifts, or even for, the ability to deepen into our spiritual awareness even further. Whatever it is that we're inviting in, we do that as a partner with the infinite, and we invite that good to unfold in our lives. And that's the third step. And then we end with gratitude, thankful for all the good, thankful for whatever it happens to be, and then we release it, because it's not a mental gymnastics activity where we have to hold that thought and lift it up like Atlas holding the world in order for that to happen. Once we say it's done, it's done. And that becomes, it's like an arrow that's shot out of the bow. You don't have to chase after the arrow. It's going to go where it's going. And we can then go shoot at something different.
There's a practicality. I was writing as you were speaking. That's a lot, right?
Yeah. I gave the entire belief, and I gave the formula for practical prayer, and we haven't gotten to the first break yet.
I'm not even sure it was 3 minutes. You did this whole thing, right? I'm thinking, let me grab my pen, right? Because I know what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, what I went through to make it clear for me. So I looked at it like this. There's only one, right? And I'm sitting in this one. Okay, so there's one spirit, and that spirit is emanating through me. However it does that, it does. So that's it. Here's me now. Okay, what part of that spirit do I need at this moment in question? So I'm a writer. A lot of times I need infinite intelligence. What? So I can actually sit in my chair, my meditation chair, right? I'm saying, okay, I know I'm in spirit, spirit's in me. Okay, I got that together. But right now, I am not interested in love. I'm cool with that. My kids love me and whatever. Right now, I need a little intel on something.
Divine mind.
So would you let's just open myself up to what the one mind, that one might be saying, but I have to zero in on that. Like when you say, open yourself up to, this stuff so easily. You just
oh yeah, 25 years and it's like automatic.
Yeah. I'm
it took a little doing,
hold up.
It's just, I just make it look easy.
So I'm like, hold up. Okay. Open yourself up to, all right. Sit there quietly. what would one with infinite intelligence think about this? So you can easily put your own spin on it, based on your belief system and what you heard before, right? That's no good. Okay, so what you got to put that thing through the grid. You got to shampoo it up, right? Does this what I might have initially thought? Is it in alignment? Does it line up with, spirit as I know spirit to be? So I like to call it work. You don't like to call it work.
Well, I don't like to call it work when it seems like effort. There is definitely some attention and persistence that's required. No struggle.
But effort is fine.
Well, for you, effort's fine. You used to be a card-carrying control freak. You gave that up, and maybe it's...
Oh, no. Listen. You got to put some energy behind this, all right? Because you're undoing stuff. Here's the term you used to use. For me, you said you're doing some heavy lifting. Yes, it is.
Yes, for you, it is heavy lifting.
Get in it.
Does it mean something different if I say you've got this intention, you've got the thing that you want to bring into the world, and you got to do the dance?
That's too soft.
See, that didn't make it past Carol's guardian at the gateway. No.
Now, listen, I'm not trying to be hard, right? But see, it's whatever you think. Now, I dance.
I know.
I dance almost every morning.
And for
I am doing no heavy lifting. That is my worship. I'm hanging out with spirit. I got the music that I like, man. When I get finished, I'm ready to take it on.
And for a wallflower who is afraid to be seen moving themselves in public, dancing seems terrifying. They'd much rather work.
I don't know about all that. Whatever it is that works for you, right? But I'm saying that when it's time to sit down and really kind of get at what I need to get at for whatever it is, I'm not dancing.
No.
All right. When I need infinite intelligence talking, I am not going to dance.
You are going to do the work. A gardener is going to tend their garden.
I'm turning the music off. First of all, because I turn the music off, ain't no thinking happens. I know that.
You know
much.
Yourself.
So, but yeah, well, I'm just trying to give people permission to be who they are. And this, first of all, you know what? We talked about this a little bit before. I'm not that hard. I'm just saying, this is not.
Okay.
It could still be fun.
Oh, yeah.
And, you got to put some energy into it.
Yeah. So
magic.
There's the question as to what it is that the word could be changed from work that implies fun for whoever is listening. Let us take a break, and then we will come back to basics. See what I did there?
Learn to put practical prayer to work in your life. The steps are simple to learn and let you begin to get real results to create the life of your dreams immediately. Reverend Bill Marcione's widely acclaimed book, Practical Prayer for Real Results, gives you a clear summary of the New Thought principles behind practical prayer and the series of easy-to-understand steps found in the most effective prayers from religions and spiritual practices all over the world and throughout history. Practical prayer is not a replacement for your religion or practice. It's a technique to make the work you do in consciousness even more effective. The book includes 40 prayers on various topics that you can adapt as needed and use as your own. Practical Prayer for Real Results is available in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook on Amazon or at b-the-light.com. That's b-the-light.com.
Welcome back to the Practical Prayer Podcast. I'm Carol, here with Reverend Dr. Bill Marcione.
And if it's work, but it doesn't feel like work, is it work?
No, it doesn't.
No, for you, it doesn't feel like work.
Because I know it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know it is. And it's the attitude that you take into it, I think. Because I already know that, for example, if there's something that I'm trying to unravel, I know that I'm going to have to put some energy. Maybe I have to read it 4 times. Maybe I have to outline it a bit when I read it and then try it again. That's the work. But it's not unpleasant because I know I'm going to come out with the understanding. I know I'm going to get it right. If I can't, I can call you. I can call somebody. I can even, I do talk to Ascended Masters.
Yeah.
I can do that too. Yeah. So it's energy. There are steps. It's things I have but I don't care and it's even fun.
Yeah. Well, I really love to exercise. I do some sort of exercise every day. And when I exercise, the mental image that I get is me getting really sweaty and coming back with muscles that feel different than they felt before. And I am very comfortable calling that a workout because that's where the sweat comes up. And that's okay as far as I'm concerned. It's not a good workout if I don't have to change my clothes afterwards. There are other people, friends of mine, who, when they go to the gym, they intentionally don't call it a workout because they don't like to think of it as work. So I'm going to go do my exercise. I'm going to burst forth with beads of joy. And it's all about the way that is understood and perceived and expressed. And it's not like my way is the good way and their way is wrong. It's not like the way that Carol does it is the only way that somebody can do it. If it works for you, then it's great. And some people equate working with struggle. Some people equate work with somebody else telling them what to do. Like, oh, I go to work and my boss gives me this pile of crap that I have to attend to, and that's what I have to spend my day on. And if somebody comes in with some more work and they put it in my in basket, that means I have to do it even more quickly. I have to be better, faster, harder at my work in order to complete it by quitting time. And thinking of work that way, it's like, oh, who would want to have something additional, unwanted, dumped in my inbox that I have to take care of before I go home and do what I really want to be doing? So the word work is perfect for you. And so I'm not making this point for Carol. I'm making this point for everybody who's not Carol. That if you don't like the thought of this being work, then think of it as being accomplishment in a way that involves success without the possibility or need for struggle.
Yeah, you made me think about something that happened several years ago. So I was called to a Baptist church, and they have an installation ceremony and all of that. And, I've always been very blessed to have people that stick with me in whatever church that I have pastored in the past. So someone was on the program and she was, getting up to make some remarks about me. And she said, "You're going to love her. She does blah, blah, blah. Now she'll work the hell out of you." But, and if you can imagine, a great stillness went throughout the whole church because even with her, because she didn't mean to say that,
right.
But that's what was there. And I'm looking, I thought, oh my God, is that what I do? Right. So I thought, well, how else you going to accomplish what you need to? Never will forget that. She and I laugh at that now, and she apologizes, but I guess that's how I come
From the outside, that sounds to me like a Baptist exorcism. You're going to work the hell out of you.
No, I wasn't doing that. But yeah, I just figured like if you want to get something done, you're going to have to put some work into it. But perhaps at some point, someone will write to me and tell me a better way to look at it.
I think it's a perfect way of expressing it, and there are a lot of different ways to understand it. And one of my teachers would describe somebody sitting in the kitchen, at the kitchen table, and feeling thirsty, and being very, very thirsty, and then understanding that there's a water glass in front of them, and there's a kitchen sink over there, and then understanding, oh, all the water that I need is available from the kitchen sink. But being unwilling to stand up and go turn the faucet on and just sitting there in that thirst, getting more and more and more uncomfortable. So in the same sense, that's the work. Mm-hmm. The good is available. Mm-hmm. And it's not like there's only one glass full of water in the faucet. Taking a glass of water out of the faucet is not going to deplete anything. It's not going to keep somebody else somewhere else from getting a drink of water. It is the act of participating in opening the channel for the good that we're seeking, to let it fill the glass, which can then fill us. And then suddenly we're not somebody sitting in the kitchen being thirsty. We are this fully realized human being, and we can then put our attention on something else.
Exactly.
But until we stand up and go over to the sink and turn the faucet, we are stuck in the old way of experiencing life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So is that work?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I have to go and turn the faucet on. It's like, well, it's not like you have to build the water tower or the aqueduct. You just have to turn on the faucet.
Which I suppose, depending on who you are, where you're coming from, it could seem like a chore. But I tend to think of the end result with something. Now, let me not paint myself as wonderful here, because you picked a scenario that that separates me from others. You put me in the kitchen and you guys talk about fixing a meal. I hate work. To me, that is like digging ditches. So I will try to figure out any way I can get a meal without having to do the work to get it. But having said that, I've learned different ways to work that out too. But you do need to make an investment. That's another way to put it?
Yeah.
Because in the end, the benefit is mine. And this is personal. I have a reason for this. And I'm willing to make the investment, whatever it is that I have within my reach, to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, so I just look at it like that. Maybe that's too hard. But I do have fun, though. I have fun with this work.
Two quotes come to mind from this. One is from Ernest Holmes, who said that we can have anything that we want, but we pay for it in spiritual coin, which means that we need to be ready to invest ourselves spiritually and in our whole selves, because spiritually means our belief system. If I believe that it's worth having and I believe that that's part of my life, then I am going to be also willing to commit myself to do the footwork that's required there. And the second quote is from M. Scott Peck in A Road Less Traveled in the 70s. He came up with a great definition for love, which is as unfuzzy, unfluffy, hearts and flowers definition of love as you can find. He says, love is the will to extend oneself for the spiritual growth of oneself or another. To extend oneself. So wherever it is that I'm now, whatever little comfort zone I'm sitting in now, in order for there to be spiritual growth for me or for somebody else who I'm loving on, I need to step beyond the comfort zone to do the work. So it's exactly the same thing that you're saying.
Yeah, it is. And I think sometimes maybe it makes it easier because you put that little extra in there. There's a benefit. There's a joy in it, even though you have to extend yourself for the benefit of someone else. The benefit, once they see it, there's a joy that I feel because you had an aha moment. And there's something that I did, like if I had to study for 3 hours to bring you a lesson and you got an aha moment, well, you didn't get the whole doggone lesson. Maybe something, there's probably 1 or 2 things in there. But to me, that's worth it.
Oh, yeah.
It's worth every bit of the work that I had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Peanuts cartoons, when they're, the animated ones, whenever the teacher is talking, actually any of the adults, but especially the teacher is talking, it's going, wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
Which is really mocking the adults and the teachers. But everything that the kids learn came out of their wah, 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 ding, light bulb. So that's exactly what you're saying.
Yes.
I can stand here and go wah, wah, wah until somebody gets it. That's fine. That's fine. Sometimes I get impatient, but that's theirs.
Well, there has to be a knowing that if infinite intelligence, let's go back to the one, infinite intelligence is working through you or emanating through you or manifesting through you, whatever way you want to express it. It's something that's coming out. You trust it. You trust the knowing of that one that you understand. It's working there for you, and keep going. Just let it flow. And always, I used to do these sermons, right? This is like 100 years ago. And they might be an hour long, right? Okay, don't fade anybody. I don't do those kind of sermons anymore. But back in the day, that's what it was. If you come with a half an hour, they're thinking like you wouldn't,
you didn't prepare.
You didn't prepare. So, very well, nobody's getting the whole hour of all that you put out there. You better not put no junk out there now because it's being taped. Back then, they were being taped. And so you want it to be substantive, but that only one or two little nuggets are hitting, but it may not be the same nugget that the person sitting next to them got.
Right.
You have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with it. And people think that, and they say, well, this is a thankless job. No, it isn't. It's a wonderful job because I don't always get praise. I don't know about you, but I don't always get praise. But it doesn't matter to me, because your praise doesn't really, it's fine. I know. Let me get back to you, what you said, that one. I know that one, infinite intelligence, is doing its thing right now when I push the on button.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
It's doing its thing. And I walk away and say, okay, that was it. Somebody got something.
Mm-hmm. Every Sunday morning at New Thought Philadelphia, we do prayer work stories, which in the rest of religious science they call demonstrations. And that's the result of the prayers that the people have been doing to set an intention for a new experience. And these are the success stories, the expressions of joy of how it happened. Somebody who just moved into a new house on a huge piece of property and set the intention that they wanted to get a snowblower and they wanted it for free. And the prayer work story is that happened. And there was no surprise about it because this was somebody who often manifests exactly what they're looking for free. I love those stories. And as a practitioner, who I do healing prayer for other people. I'll have a client, I'll work with them, and we'll do a prayer. And it's a week or 3 weeks or 3 months later, I'll hear back from it, and they'll say, "Oh, here's the story about what happened. I've gotten this wonderful relationship, and he's perfect, and I never thought that would be possible. Or I got this great job, and it pays $15,000 more than I thought it was going to, and the boss is awesome." Or the diagnosis actually turned out to be something much more insignificant than we thought. And two things that happened. Mm-hmm. First of all, what a thrill that is, because that's the light bulb. That's the aha. That's where it actually came back and worked. The other part that sometimes it starts out feeling a little embarrassing for me is they tell me the story and I think, I've already heard this story. I think, oh, wait a second. I heard this story when I said the prayer. This was the intention that I set. This is just the echo coming back through their life. So yeah, it's wonderful to be able to put that out to, as you say, to do the work and then have the echo come back. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to do a practical prayer on investing our spiritual coin.
Get inspiration in an instant. God calls are the gentle and uplifting moment of truth to help you remember that the bright light of God's love is shining right now as you.
It's your God Call with Reverend Bill.
Start your 2-week free trial today, and you'll get a phone call 4 times a week from Reverend Bill with an uplifting half-minute message filled with insight, wisdom, story, and fun.
Let your light shine.
You can answer the call to listen to it live or let it go to voicemail so you can hear it later. After the free trial, your subscription is just $5.95 a month. The details are at godcall.org. God calls are disruptive, intentionally.
Whenever you write something, put on a gold star.
They take you away from your routine to remind you about the truth of who you really are. They come at random times between 8:15 a.m. and 6 p.m., so you won't be expecting them. And somehow, the message is exactly what you need to hear at the time.
Magic is loose in the world.
It's a moment of motivation in the middle of your day. Find out more and start your 2-week free trial now.
Welcome back to the Practical Prayer Podcast. I'm Carol. This is Reverend Dr. Bill Marcioni.
We're going to do some prayer. This whole program has been about back to basics, the fundamentals of our New Thought teaching and how we create our new experience. And this practical prayer is on investing our spiritual coin to create or invite or open the channel to that new experience that we're seeking. And it is an investment of our spiritual coin. It is going to take some doing for us to be able to create that new experience. And the key to that is that it's done unto us as we believe. And that means that the experience that we've been having up until now is it being done unto us as we believe. And so in order to get a new it to be showing up in our lives, we need to change our belief. And that is where we get to invest our spiritual coin. So for everybody who's listening to this prayer, it's going to show up differently for each of us because that transformation is different for each of us. We're each starting in a different place. We each have a different goal or something that we're seeking as a result of this transformation. But just bring that to mind. What is that change that we're looking for in life? Is it in relationships and our love and our romance or our family or our community? Is it in our health and vitality and feeling of well-being and homeostasis, which is all the parts of our body working properly? Is it in our prosperity, in our financial affairs, in our experience of sufficiency or enoughness in the world? Is it the way that we're sharing our gifts and talents and skills and doing our work in the world to bring something new into being? It can even be about our spiritual awareness, about wanting to deepen more into that. In a lot of ways, that's even the easiest one because it's really obvious that when we're investing spiritual coin there, it's going to be spiritual practice, letting go of what has been so we can open to something new. So whatever it is, take that into your awareness. And then if it's safe to do so, close your eyes so you can turn away from those details, from those specifics, from that stuff that's been showing up in life up until now, and get a notion, get a sense, get an understanding of what that change is that is preferable to that. And again, this is going to be different for everybody who is listening to this prayer. Whatever area has been not fully satisfying up until now, there is something more, something better, something brighter, something richer, something sweeter that is available. And as we develop an understanding of what that is, we are able to identify that infinite creative power that creates everything, that one divine presence that shares itself as all of its creation, the one that has created the galaxies and the stars and the planets and everything here on planet Earth, every life, every idea, every experience, that one is sharing itself as its creation. That one is sharing itself as each of us right here and right now. And that one is available to share itself in a new way to bring this good into our lives. So as we set the intention for that good to show up in our lives, we open ourselves up to the guidance. What is mine to do? What is mine next? Where is it for me to invest my spiritual coin, to change the path that I've been on, to take the next step in a new and more uplifting direction? What is mine? And to know that each of us is guided to invest that spiritual coin, to take that next step in direction, in a manner that brings more of this good into our lives. We are fully participating in this co-creative process. The infinite creative power that creates everything is creating this, and it does so according to our beliefs. So each of us now is doing whatever is necessary to change that belief, to open a new channel, to invite in that newness. So that infinite creative power creates that newness for and through and as and with us. And this good is underway now. I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for the willingness of each one to take this step, to be involved in this process. I am so grateful for the way that this love is unfolding. I'm so grateful for the awareness of this creative process and to be able to speak this word on behalf of each one listening and to know without any question, hesitation, doubt whatsoever that this is underway now. It's underway now. And so I let it be. And so it is. Amen.
The Practical Prayer Podcast with Reverend Bill Marcioni and Carol Lawrence is a production of BeTheLight.com.
be-the-light.com,
where you can find more information about practical prayer for real results.
Our theme is by Music of Wisdom. You can learn about the spiritual community of New Thought Philadelphia with daily guided meditations,
Weekly celebrations of spirit,
and Reverend Bill's classes in practical spirituality
at newthoughtphilly.org.
This podcast is supported by listeners like you. We're grateful for your tax-deductible donation at newthoughtphilly.org or the link in the episode description.